Thank you. What if the best thing we could do to increase our chance to have a long and healthy life could also benefit our family and friends, and maybe even the whole world? The Beatles said all you need is love, and decades of science suggest they were right. The Harvard Medical School study of adult development has tracked hundreds of people for over 75 years to learn what leads to longevity and good health. And they found, as expected, that those who smoke, drink, eat, or even sit too much tend to fare worse. But you know what factor has had the biggest impact of all? It's having warm, positive relationships. In other words, it's love. We need love today more than ever. Our current era is one of 24/7 connectivity, and yet what our Surgeon General has called an epidemic of loneliness. We spend so much education, time, and thought in our career and financial development, but we act like loving relationships will just naturally rise in whatever cracks of time are left over after work. We don't know how to love ourselves and others enough to end war, feed the hungry, or stop massive species extinction. Simply put, our brains have grown faster than our hearts. I relate personally to this imbalance because growing up, I got good grades, but I didn't know how to love myself or others very well. I had anxiety, depression, and eating disorder. But I hid what I saw as these shameful weaknesses behind a brittle, jaded shell that I thought was sophistication. At 17, I planned to become a corporate attorney, live in a glass penthouse, and tie my tubes at 21. I think my kids are glad I changed my mind on that one. I know I sure am. Even then, I longed for greater love in my life. I'd caught glimpses of happy relationships, mostly in books and TV. And I had a really good front row seat to unhappy relationships too. Deceit, abandonment, endless tug of war. I knew what I did not want in my relationships, but I had no idea how to find anything different. Luckily for young Cindi and for all of us, there is a roadmap to greater love, and I call it AMA, which is also how you could tell somebody to go love in Spanish. AMA is spelled A-M-A, and to grow love, we do three things: attend, mend, and ascend. To attend means to learn about healthy love and about ourselves relative to it. We mend thoughts and behaviors that block or reduce our ability to share love. And when we ascend, we celebrate, amplify, and enjoy the joy and other positive emotions love brings us. Let's look at each part of AMA in turn. First, we attend. Underpinned biochemically, love has been defined as an emotion, a motivation, a relationship, or a positive energy exchange. We often associate love with romance, but it also includes love for ourselves, our friends and family, our community and world, and for those of faith, the divine. We can attend to ourselves through a personal love history. My parents collectively had 7 marriages and 6 divorces. And my mom left my dad and me when I was 2. I didn't see her for months, and then only on weekends. On my 5th Thanksgiving, she drove to my dad's house to see me, and she found me out in the snow without a coat, alone and crying. So she sued for custody. The court psychologist asked which parent I wanted to live with, and I said my mom. When she won custody, I didn't see my dad for almost a year, and I was sure it was my fault because I hadn't chosen him. Early experience creates what psychologists call our attachment style, meaning what we think, feel, and do in close relationships. After inconsistent early care, my style became anxious, meaning I crave love, but I fear losing it. And I can be clingy and insecure in relationships. We can see how our attachment style impacts us today through self-distanced observation, which is watching how we think and how we act as if we were outside looking in. It's useful to do self-distanced observation because thinking and memory don't work the way that they seem to. We feel like we have video cameras in our heads, that when we think about or remember something, we're playing back a recording. But really, we're more like directors than videographers. We don't just passively record our lives. We actively create perception, our version of reality. Because in this complex world, we have to decide what to focus on, and we also decide what it means. To see this, self-observe your inner dialogue, that voice or voices most of us hear in our heads. My inner voice was critical and anxious, and often berated me for saying I was doing something stupid, I'd done something stupid, or I had done something wrong. What do you see when you self-observe your inner dialogue? Are you mostly kind, generous, and accepting of yourself and of other people? Or do you struggle with anxiety, with negativity? Do you see the worst in yourself or in others because your inner voice tells you to? When are your perceptions too generous? Do you excuse or ignore injustice, neglect, or abuse? I know I sometimes accepted less than I should have from people. Like the boyfriend who wouldn't let me record the song that he'd written just for me. And it turned out he was playing the same song for 2 other women. Or the graduate advisor who was unkind and manipulative to me for 5 years, but threatened to tank my career if I ever left, and so I didn't. How many times did I allow myself or someone else to suffer when maybe I could have escaped, drawn some boundaries, or helped create change? It can be painful to see our shortcomings when we attend. But doing so is worth it, because if we create perceptions that limit our ability to share love, then we also have the power to change those perceptions. And this is how we begin to mend. First step in mending is to unlearn fear of our feelings. People will avoid pain even as mild as boredom, distracting ourselves with food, drink, shopping, social media. And most of us learn to swallow our feelings to fit in as we grow up. In high school, I saw that successful dating required playing hard to get, as if it were a race to see who can care the least. And it can be scary to say hello to a stranger or reach out to a long-lost friend, even though research shows that we're more likely to enjoy it and get a positive reaction than we expect. To open our hearts to love does risk the pain of loss. But research shows that experiencing a wide range of emotions actually leads to better health and well-being. It's not possible or good for us to try to be happy all the time. Life isn't always easy or fair. So when we try to avoid sadness, and anger, Brené Brown says we run straight into the arms of fear, perfectionism, and the desperate need to control. This is not love, but toxic positivity. Barb Fredrickson says in Love 2.0 that a better life motto than stay positive is stay open. When we're open to our emotions, we see that they come and go. And sometimes they're sweet summer breeze. And sometimes they're golf ball hailstones. But even the worst storm does pass. And the best umbrella, while the storm is here, support from those we love. We can support ourselves too. Mindful self-compassion is the practice of learning to comfort ourselves the way that we would comfort a suffering friend. Now, when my inner voice begins to squawk at me, I stop, I hug myself, and I say, that hurt. But it's okay, everybody hurts sometimes. Thanks for your concern, voice, but I've got this. We can mend harmful behaviors too. As Bell Hooks told us, love is both a noun and a verb. When we love someone, we don't just wish them well, we take active steps towards their well-being. We can learn to undo our own prejudice by greeting each person we meet as a unique individual, looking for commonalities that we have for them, and treating them with kindness and respect. And we can mend self-harming behaviors too. Once I learned about attachment style, I promised myself that the next time I met someone who was secure and warm, I would give that person a chance, even if at first I found them kind of boring, which had been my habit up till that point. And 6 months later, I began to date Stephen, now my husband of 31 years. We've never had that crazy roller coaster of fights and drama and cold shoulder and making up that I previously confused with romance. And it turns out, healthy love isn't boring at all. It's the best part of life. The natural world also helps us mend. Caring for pets and houseplants makes us healthier and happier. Time spent in nature lowers inflammation and improves decision making, makes our heads clearer, and actually makes us kinder. Regular hiking helps me become more like the person my puppy Percy thinks that I am. Many of us love our pets dearly, and we should extend that love to all life, even creepy crawlies, because all beings are precious, interconnected, and worthy of care. Science shows that many of the assumed distinctions between humans and other creatures aren't real. Bumblebees can learn to open puzzle boxes by watching other bees. Prairie voles mate for life, and they share much of our same neurobiology of love. And parrots can initiate and enjoy video chats with each other. Animals are smart and social, and caring for them and their habitats gives us another opportunity to practice love. When we attend and mend our love, it brings more joy, awe, and gratitude to our lives. And when we savor and amplify these wonderful feelings, we ascend. Mindfulness is a tool that helps us get there. Mindfulness is learning, practicing, having your thoughts and your feelings mostly be centered on right now, so that you really feel what's in your heart and your body now, rather than getting stuck ruminating about the past or worrying about the future. We can also ascend our love through prayer and through metta, loving kindness meditation, which is a practice of breathing in, good wishes for ourselves, and breathing out the same for others. Finally, we can ascend our love through love rituals. Before going to sleep at night, Stephen and I ask each other 3 questions. What was the best thing that happened to you today? What did you do today that you're proud of? And what are you looking forward to tomorrow? We then express gratitude for one action, big or small, that the other partner took today. We've done this for at least 25 years, and it helps us stay close amid busy lives. Attend, Mend, and Ascend have been powerfully transformative for me. At 59, I'm a work in progress, and I'm happier, healthier, have better relationships, and am more active in my community than when I was young. AMA brings us joy and health and helps create more connection and better lives for all. So what are you waiting for? Go love. AMA. Thank you.